Collectors take all shapes and forms, and taking a chance on a bunch of stuff left in a storage unit or picking things up at an estate auction are one thing. But the guys who are obsessed with their collections are a whole different story. And when somebody personally puts everything on the line to buy that one piece he thinks is going to make his collection complete, well, he better be damn sure it's worth the money he's spending. That's where I come in. I'm Bill Barker, and I help real guys make sure their holy grail is the real deal. I am the Authenticator. So I get a call from Danny Simmons in Brooklyn. He's hired me to help locate a very rare comic book from the 1940s. Now what Danny doesn't know is my contact just tracked down a copy. Hey, Danny, Bill Barker.
Hey, Bill, come on in, man.
Looking forward to seeing your stuff.
I got a bunch of stuff to show you.
Wow. Boy, this is great. You've got an awful lot of African art here, Danny. I mean, looks like some of it Tanzanian, some of it from the Congo, probably.
Yeah, man, there's some stuff here from Burkina Faso, from Nigeria. There's stuff here from all over Africa.
Take a look at a piece like this. I mean, that looks really rare to me. Probably could be worth something like 5 figures even.
Man, probably. I mean, it's the oldest representation of that type of piece. I mean, it was just in a show, and the guy said, I've never seen one this old. So I'm not quite sure how much it's worth, but it's worth a good bit of money.
All right, well, let's head upstairs, take a look at the comic books. What do you say?
Hey, man, I always look at that.
All right, very
Come
good.
on, man. Stuff here too, man.
Wow.
There's stuff everywhere.
Wow. Okay, so these are first edition copies of Oliver Twist. They date back to the 1830s. Now, this is amazing because I have seen sets of these books go for 6 figures, depending on their condition. That's just incredible. Oh, wait a minute. All right, take a look at this. Now, I'm positive that this is a depiction of the very first Fantastic Four comic book from 1961. This sculpture is actually the cover of that book. I mean, I don't even know if I've seen one of these before. Danny has really got some cool stuff here. I heard you have this like extensive comic book collection, but I mean, I see a couple of comic books here.
Let me pull those out for you.
All right, let's take a look.
Now, this is not all of them, but this is some of them.
Okay.
Come on, let's throw them out on the bed here. This is a very famous cover. This robot, let me pull this out the plastic. This robot carrying this bound lady.
Wow.
I've been collecting comics since I was a kid.
Okay, first Iron Man. Wow. First Lex Luthor, 1940.
Yep.
That's beautiful. When did you start collecting all of these?
Well, I started collecting the vintage comic books maybe about 8, 9 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. First Hulk, first Fantastic Four.
If you know what you're looking for when it comes to these comic books, with the vintage books in the condition you've got these in, I mean, they're going to hold their value, they're going to increase in value, probably better than stocks and bonds over the last 50 years. Comic books are graded on somewhat of an intricate scale, starting at 0.5 and then going up to 10 based on their physical quality. Now, things like tears, stains, creases, those are all going to drag it further down the scale. A comic rated 10 or gem mint is pristine, while your 0.5 is poor quality, having a major defect. Now, in between those ratings, you got things like near mint mint, near mint plus, near mint minus, very fine near mint. You get the idea. It's kind of complicated. These comic books are all professionally graded and sealed in these plastic encapsulations. You're gonna have a cheap one to lay on the coffee table.
Yeah.
This one's the investment.
That's the investment.
I could look at Danny's collection all day, but I'm here to talk business. You've got this great, enormous comic book collection, just about everything that you'd like to own, but there's one out there, kind of the white whale of your collection. Tell me about that.
That's all Negro comic #1.
Okay, so June 1947, first comic book, written, produced, distributed by African Americans.
And it also portrays African Americans in a light that they weren't being portrayed before. This really was uplifting to our community during that period of time, and so I'd like to have a piece of that history.
It's going to be expensive if we can find one in good condition. How much money are you prepared to spend?
The book seems to be like it's going to be a couple of dollars out of my range.
couple $1,000s out of my range.
I've got a line on this comic book, and it's in real nice condition. Now, the thing you got to know is that you could be looking as much as maybe $9,500.
Yeah, that's a little steep.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let's not worry about the price right now. Let's take a look at the comic book. Let's see what kind of shape it's in, and then we'll determine where we need to be to get the deal done. Now, I gotta call my contact, Vincent Zerzullo at Metropolis Collectibles. You've got that copy of All Negro Comics #1 in the store, right?
I've got it right here.
Do me a favor. Don't put it up for auction just yet. I want to come by and take a look at it. I've got an idea for you I think you'll like, all right?
Sure, I can hold it for you, Bill, but not for too long.
I'll see you in just a bit then. Thanks. So I'm off to Manhattan to meet with Vincent. This guy's got everything.
So here's what I have to show you.
Oh, wow. All right, now that is the holy grail of holy grails, action #1.
The first appearance of Superman. This is the comic book that started it all.
Oh, Detective #27. Now this one, first appearance of Batman.
This is a 6.0 copy. This is one of the highest graded known to exist in the world. $660,000.
All right, so as the dollar figures get higher and higher, Vincent, obviously the grading becomes more and more important because it can start to mean the difference between thousands and thousands of dollars.
You're absolutely right. We last year sold Action Comics #1 in 8.0 condition for $1 million. The next month, we were able to acquire the highest graded copy in 8.5 condition. We sold that for $1.5 million for the first appearance of Superman in Action Comics.
Do you see? Is grading really that important? Well, in this case, a mere 0.5 difference in the grade meant $500,000 in price. So, you tell me. The industry leader in impartial comic book grading is a company called CGC.
And now, for the finale.
All right.
The book you've been waiting for.
This is what we're here for.
Here is a copy of All Negro Comics #1 from 1947.
Wow.
Finding a comic book like this with the page quality that we have here, this is just gorgeous. This is very rare, very unique for this type of comic book.
I know you're not CGC, but you're very aware of their standards. What are you thinking?
We graded this comic book a 6.5 on the scale. And just to give you an idea,
okay,
my partner Stephen Fischler created the 10-point grading scale that's used throughout the entire comic book industry.
Okay.
So we're pretty good.
I have faith in your grade, but we're going to take this thing down to Florida and have CGC take a look at it. You all right with that?
Fantastic, not a problem at all.
All right, excellent. Normally, Vincent wouldn't just let a guy walk out of here with a rare comic book before paying for it. But I am the Authenticator, and Vincent is confident a third party will match his grade. Wow, what an odyssey this has been. And now I'm on the way to CGC to get this thing graded. This place is so top secret, they don't even allow family and friends of employees inside the building. But I'm gonna get inside. All right, most of this place is on lockdown, and I've been followed around by an armed guard all day. However, they did let me in to meet the graders. All right, gang, here we are. We are in the doorway of the grading room of CGC. Do you know how few people get into this room? But we are going in with our comic book to see the actual process of grading. Each book that goes to CGC gets meticulously inspected, first by a restoration expert, and then 3 separate graders, none of whom know the other's final grades.
I see some creases on the corners here.
A few pieces out at the top of the back cover. There's some spine stress and some creasing along the left edge of the brake's color. Crease right there. And I flip it over. Some spine stress. I see on the bottom right corner there's a small crease that breaks color.
A little piece out at the top edge of the back cover.
Tiny little tear at the bottom.
There is some subjectivity, but 3 different people almost always come to a very similar conclusion.
Okay, so I have a grade in mind. I think it's a pretty solid 6.5.
A 6.5.
6.5. It was a really pretty book.
Once the final grade is established, then it's time for the final step. That's encapsulation in a tamper-proof, protective case with the essential CGC grade displayed. All right, so how about that Vincent? He said 6.5. He was right in step with the folks at CGC. We know exactly what we have now. The last thing to do is get this comic book back to New York City and into the hands of Danny Simmons so he can get it paid for and enjoy it for the rest of his life.
Have a seat, guys.
All right, here we are, gentlemen.
Is this a real moment?
This is the real moment. Well, I got to say congratulations to Vincent, and as advertised, 6.5, just like he predicted.
Wow, that's great. This was a great book.
Probably the best copy that we're going to find. It's time to talk cash a little bit. So what are you thinking?
So I was asking $9,500 for this book, which I still think is a very fair price, especially considering that you were able to authenticate it, that it is real, and it was accurately graded by our company.
Wow. I wanted to pay $7,500, but you know, I've been looking for this book for a long time. I almost bought it a few years ago. I'll go up to $8,500. You know,
Think you can make that happen?
I can make that happen. I can't make $9,500 happen though.
All right, so we're talking about 8,500 bucks cash. I mean, yeah. I mean, you could take it to auction, and you know, you could get 95, maybe a little more. But then again, you could get less. This is cold hard cash right now today.
I'd love to see a little bit more, but you know what? I'd like to also close a deal, and I have a feeling you're going to be coming back for some other books.
I will be. He's seen my collection. He knows I'm going to be
He's
coming
got some
back some
great
more.
stuff, right?
All
I
right,
got good books.
let's do the deal.
All right.
Really?
Okay.
Excellent.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
fantastic, man.
Beautiful.
I
Fantastic.
appreciate you putting this whole thing together, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ooh, this is great.
All right.
All right.
All right, here it is, home sweet home, and this is where it's going to go, in the bedroom.
Right under the Batman, man. Batman can watch out for it.
It's a good plan, as much as you paid for it.
Oh, Lord. Don't talk about it.
From New York to Florida, back to New York, mission accomplished. I'm Bill Barker, the Authenticator, and that's case closed.